I would give Presumed Innocent episode 5 a solid 6 out of 10. There was more good than bad. So I'm going to start with what I liked best. I liked the scene between Carolyn and Tommy. Um, I loved how Tommy went to Carolyn and was like, "Yeah, I heard you talk about me, and you told somebody that you didn't want to work with me." Which, listen, it happens in workplaces everywhere I went where someone heard something and they confront somebody. But it kind of reminded me of that. But Carolyn was like, who said that? Of course, he didn't say it because it's not right because she's going to go to that person eventually. But Carolyn was like, look, if I was going to be a second chair to anyone, it would be Rusty. I mean, it's an obvious choice because, hello, he is the top dog, so it would make sense for my career. Of course, he didn't like that. But to me, it just makes us look at Tommy. Could it be him? Could he be added to our suspect list? And then also another scene with Tommy, who, I'm not a huge fan of, but I agree with him and he actually makes sense. So basically, there's a scene where he made a little speech to the reporters, and Nico was like, I just felt like it was unnecessary. And then Tommy was like, look, I'm grateful you gave me the job. I'm grateful. But fall back and let me do my job. And people pick up on cues as he says, And when you do that, they start to doubt me and probably question me more, which is true because if you think about it, Nico is the boss. So when the boss is doing that, everyone else sees it. Coworkers and people, whoever. And when they see that, some will even try to use that to their advantage. So I agree with Tommy there because I just don't think Nico is doing that intentionally, but people do pick it up, whether you do it intentionally or not. Some people be like, oh, yeah, there's some tension going on. Hmm. It's kind of like that. And I've seen it. And I do agree with Tommy there. I do believe Nico is giving him good advice, but at this point, let it ride. And if it doesn't work, you could explain to him, you could explain to him later, and who knows, maybe he'll change his ways. But at this point, just give your advice. Make it short, private, and let it ride. Let go. And Nico does mention about the Bunny Davis suspect. Like he did ask Tommy, "Is did you look into it? Could there be a possibility? Could there be something there?" And Tommy said pretty much what Raymond and Maya said. Nothing. And I agree with him. I just don't want that stretched out. And of course, there's a scene with Kyle. Rusty goes out. He sees Kyle's bike in the trash, and he's like, "Hey, who threw it out?" Barbara's like, "It's not me." And Kyle's like, "Yeah, it was me. It's broken, so it is trashed, so that's where it belongs." And I just love how Rusty just put it in the trunk. Like, I don't know. With his character, either he uses that so that he could use that to help him later in the trial to maybe point it to his son if need be, or who knows, maybe he thinks his son did it, but he wants to make sure that he'll dispose of the evidence that could point to his son. But I'm starting to think it's my first theory at this point, really. And of course, Tommy's opening statement, which is how they ended this episode, which was good. I love how they ended it, and it was a strong ending. It was a good one. It wasn't the best because I have seen other, how should I say, law shows, but it was pretty good because I felt like he low key admits that it isn't a strong DNA case or strong evidence case, but More so, we have enough for you to make a decision. And the way he portrayed her, it makes someone feel like I want to hold somebody responsible for her death. So it was a good opening. And, that was another thing I liked because I think last time I said, there's nothing redeeming about Tommy. But this time I could see that he could be a good prosecutor if his head's right. And even Rusty was like, uh-oh. Um, what I didn't like is Rusty being hell bent on this Reynolds and Brian thing. He wants to pin it on them. Like there's a connection there. It could be. And he just wants to point to somebody. But I just feel like it's unnecessary. And like Raymond said, all we really have to prove is that you didn't do it. And like I said, if you're going to point to someone, you got to have something with it. Like a conversation between Brian and Reynolds. Clearly, there's no evidence of Brian being at Carolyn's apartment. Like, there has to be something for you to just point to somebody. You just can't point to somebody just to point at somebody. Just because Reynolds, who made threats to her, is not good enough. I mean, he's in prison. Ugh. Anyways. And then, of course, we got the bartender and Barbara thing. We don't care. I don't think Barbara cares either. I mean, it was a cute little scene. It was pretty, but no. But other than that, it was a pretty good episode. Much better than the last one. And it makes me want to look forward to the next episode.